So the Tidal Gates project followed the usual management cycle of initiate, procure, install or construct, monitor and review. The initiation of the project began with the background research, including community discussions to identify some problematic areas. Then also council staff undertook hydraulic calculations to ensure the tidal gates would operate properly. Our project control group then went on site to each of our locations with our City Works team, and together we were able to assess the suitability for installation and other potential issues such as contamination, safety requirements and other environmental issues. Council were able to install 3 different types of tidal gates at 4 different locations. A total of 7 tidal gates were procured during this project. We also have an additional 2 tidal gates to be used in scaling up this project in the near future.
We purchased 3 different types of gate, and the arrangements with those varied in terms of supply and install, and as a consequence of that we really needed to map out who needed to be involved. So stakeholder engagement needed to be established early on, but then revisited again and again throughout the project.
Our community were engaged in this project from its inception. The project was initiated by our community working group, assisting the development of the Swansea and surrounds local adaptation plan.
This project grew out of the community in a deliberative governance sense. So it was very important to keep the community engaged and involved in what we were doing, seek their feedback on that and continually go back and involve them. And some of those earlier videos with the community members are reflective of their ownership.
The project was run through our environmental systems team and required the advice and skills of council stormwater engineers, our City Works project managers, our experienced construction crews and our metalwork fabricators. Also, we required our maintenance team for long-term monitoring.
So the lesson we learned fairly early on is that not to miss those key stakeholders. The maintenance crew is really going to determine whether this thing sinks or floats in the long term. If those gates aren't maintained, they will fail and somebody will make a decision that they're not effective.
It is too early to tell the effectiveness of the tidal gates. We still need a series of large tide events to observe their impact. However, early issues were detected in one type of tidal gate. In November, we observed a small leak in one of our tidal valves during a large tidal event. There appears to be an issue with the valve seal, and we are working on a solution to the problem. During rainfall events, the tidal gates have been observed to open and operate effectively. After rain events, there is some minor pooling of rainwater in a swale upstream of one of our tidal gates. However, this pooling quickly dissipates through evaporation and infiltration. We are still monitoring the gates and their long-term efficiency. Our helpful partner, Local Government New South Wales, who are managing the New South Wales Government grant funding, provided advice on various aspects of this project and provided contacts of other councils who have experience with tidal gates.
We're all learning up and down the New South Wales coast, and this grant's been particularly useful in terms of broadening that network of councils who are looking at this as one of a suite of tools for managing inundation and building resilience to climate change.
This project has shown a proof of concept. Lake Macquarie City Council are now aware that tidal gates can solve inundation problems for several low-lying communities. We now have the knowledge, contacts and capability to scale up this project, and to do this we will be working with students from the University of Newcastle. Furthermore, we aim to link this project across a spectrum of initiatives at Council, such as our circular economy planning and our assets management team who are undertaking climate change maturity health checks. To ensure longevity and ongoing monitoring, it is aimed to stir this project across the Council departments. Eventually, the project will be managed by other departments who have primary responsibility for new capital works in our city.
Some people early days saw these tidal gates as a panacea. The lesson we learnt was it's a nice lever to get action in the here and now, whilst we can then work on those longer term adaptation measures that the community have agreed on.